Captain Han Minho sat in his command chair aboard the mining vessel Iron Phoenix. The asteroid field around them looked empty and cold. His crew had been working here for 3 months, pulling valuable metals from the rocks. It was boring work, but it paid well. Park Jiwoo sat at the communications station, monitoring the usual transmissions. She was good at her job. 27 years old, sharp eyes, and she never missed anything unusual. Today, something caught her attention. "Captain," she said, her voice uncertain. "I'm getting something strange." Minho turned to her. "What kind of strange?" "A signal. Very weak. It's not from any of our colonies." Jiwoo's fingers moved across her console. "Wait, there's something in it. Some kind of code." Dr. Kang Mai-Ray walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's xenobiologist, studying alien life forms they sometimes found in space. She was in her mid-30s, always curious about everything. "What's going on?" Mai-Ray asked. "Unknown signal," Minho said. Jiwoo is trying to decode it." Jiwoo worked in silence for several minutes. Her face went pale. "Captain, you need to see this." Minho stood and walked to her station. On the screen, lines of data scrolled past, but some numbers stood out. They were familiar. Too familiar. "Those are human biometric readings," Mai-Ray said, leaning closer. "Heart rates, blood pressure, body temperature. From where?" Minho demanded. "That's the problem," Jiwoo said quietly. "These readings are coming from the Velcrin sector, 3 systems away. And Captain, these readings are from children." The bridge went silent. The Velcrin were an insectoid species. They looked like giant manises, but they could think and speak. Humans had met them 5 years ago. The contact had been peaceful. The Velcrin seemed interested in science and learning. They kept to themselves mostly. "Children?" Minho repeated. "Are you sure?" "The heart rates are too fast. The body sizes are too small. I'm reading 23 different signatures." Jiwoo's voice shook. "Captain, these are human children." "And they're alive?" Minho felt ice in his stomach. "Where exactly are they?" Jiwoo pulled up a star map. A red dot appeared in space. "Velcrin Research Station Omega 7. It's one of their science facilities." "What are human children doing at a Velcrin research station?" Mai-Ray asked. Nobody answered. They all knew what it meant. Research station, specimens, study subjects. Minho grabbed the communication headset. "This is Captain Han Minho of the Iron Phoenix to all Earth frequencies. Priority Alpha emergency. I need immediate connection to Fleet Command." The response came fast. "This is Earth Fleet Command." "Go ahead, Captain." "We have discovered human biometric signatures at coordinates Delta 79. 23 individuals. All children. They are being held at a Velcrin facility." Minho's voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "Request immediate instructions." There was a long pause. Then a different voice came through, older, harder. "This is Admiral Troy Deho. Captain, are you certain these readings are accurate?" "Yes, Admiral. Dr. Kang Mai-Ray confirms they are human children." "How long have they been there?" Jiwoo checked her data. "Based on the signal pattern, I would say at least several months, sir." "Maybe longer." Another pause. When the Admiral spoke again, his voice was cold. "Captain, maintain your position. Monitor those signals. Do not approach the Velcrin station. We are mobilizing a fleet. Keep those children's vital signs on constant watch. If anything changes, you inform me immediately." "Understood, Admiral." The communication ended. Minho looked at his crew. Jiwoo was crying silently. Murray's face was hard as stone. "How did this happen?" Jiwoo whispered. "How did they take our children?" Mai-Ray pulled up colony records on her tablet. "Let me check something." She worked for 10 minutes. Then she stopped. "Oh no, what is it?" Minho asked. "Missing person reports. Over the last 6 months. Remote colonies. Outer settlements." Murray's voice was shaking. 15 cases? All children. Authorities thought they wandered off or had accidents. The colonies are so far apart, nobody connected them. The Velcrin were watching us, Jiwoo said. They were studying Earth colonies, picking targets. Minho walked to the viewport. He could see distant stars. Somewhere out there, 23 human children were trapped in cages, being studied like animals, by aliens who thought humans were interesting specimens from a dangerous world. Earth was a death world. Everyone in the galaxy knew it. The gravity was higher than most planets. The weather was violent. The animals were deadly. Humans had survived all of it. They were stronger, faster, and tougher than most alien species. The Velcrin probably thought human children would be fascinating to examine. They had no idea what they had done. "Captain," Jiwoo said, "I'm picking up more transmissions. From Earth, military channels are going active. I'm seeing fleet mobilization orders across all sectors." Minho watched the data. Warships were moving, cruisers, destroyers, battle carriers. Ships from every nation on Earth, American vessels, Chinese fleets, Russian carriers, European cruisers, African destroyers. All of them changing course. All of them heading toward one location. The Velcrin sector. "They're not sending a rescue team," Murray said quietly. "They're sending an armada." Minho nodded. He understood. This wasn't about negotiation. This wasn't about diplomacy. Someone had taken human children, had caged them, had treated them like laboratory animals. Humanity was coming, and they were bringing everything they had. "Jiwoo," Minho said, "send a message on all frequencies. Every language, every channel. Make sure every species in this sector hears it. What should I say, Captain? Tell them we know our children are being held. Tell them we are coming to get them. And tell them that if any harm comes to those kids, nothing in the galaxy will stop what happens next." Jiwoo typed the message. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. When she finished, she looked at Minho. "Ready to transmit, Captain. Send it." The message went out across space. It reached human colonies first, then alien trading posts, then the Velcrin homeworld. Everywhere the message went, the response was the same. Silence. Species across the galaxy had heard about human protective instincts. They had heard the stories, how humans would die for their children, how they would fight impossible odds, how they became something different, something terrifying. When their young were threatened, now they would see if the stories were true aboard the Iron Phoenix. The crew watched the vital signs of 23 children. The numbers were stable. The kids were alive. But the readings showed stress, fear. Some of the heart rates were too fast. Some showed patterns of sleep deprivation. "How long until the fleet arrives?" Murray asked. 18 hours at maximum speed, Jiwoo said. Minho sat back in his chair. 18 hours. For those children, it would feel like forever. They were alone, scared, trapped on an alien station far from home, but they wouldn't be alone for much longer. Across space, 47 warships pushed their engines beyond safety limits. Crews worked double shifts. Weapons were armed and ready. Marines checked their gear. Medical teams prepared for trauma cases. One message played on every ship's communication system, over and over. The words were simple. Just 4 words. "They have our children." That was all it took. Humanity had faced extinction events before. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. They had climbed to the top of Earth's food chain through determination and cooperation. But nothing, absolutely nothing, brought humans together like a threat to their young. The Velcrin were about to learn this lesson. They had made their observations. They had conducted their research. They had studied the humans from the dangerous death world. Now the Deathworlders were coming, and they were done being studied. Admiral Choi Daeho stood in the command center in Geneva. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, fleet positions, and vital signs of 23 children. He was 60 years old, a veteran of 3 colonial wars. He had seen terrible things in his career. But this made his blood cold. Around the table sat representatives from every major nation. For once, nobody argued. Nobody talked about politics or borders or old grudges. They all stared at the same data. 20-3 children, caged like animals. 3 systems away. How fast can we get there? Asked the American general. 18 hours if we push the engines hard, Choi said. Maybe 16 if we risk damaging them. Risk it, said the Chinese admiral. Those are our children. Everyone nodded. Russian, Indian, Brazilian, South African, Korean, Japanese. Every face showed the same expression. Cold fury. Ambassador Yoon Sora entered the room. She was 45, elegant, known for her diplomatic skills. She had negotiated peace treaties and trade agreements across the galaxy. Other species respected her because she was always calm, always reasonable. Today, her face was like carved ice. Ambassador, Choi said, we need you to send a message to the Velcrin Council. What kind of message? Yoon asked, an ultimatum. Yoon sat down. She pulled up the communication interface. What are the terms? Colonel Nam Taeyang spoke from the corner. He was special operations, intelligence background. Quiet man. Dangerous eyes. Tell them they have 24 hours to return our children. Unharmed, all of them. And if they refuse? Yoon asked. Then we take them back by force, Choi said simply. Yoon nodded. She began typing. Her message was short, professional, polite, but every word carried weight. To the Velcrin High Council. This is Ambassador Yoon Sora of the United Earth Government. We have discovered that 23 human children are being held at your research station Omega-7. We demand their immediate return. You have 24 hours to comply. This is not a negotiation. Return our children unharmed or face the consequences. We do not make threats. We make promises, she sent the message. Now we wait, Choi said. They didn't wait long. 3 hours later, the response came. High Scholar Veth appeared on the screen. He was Velcrin, tall and insect-like, with multiple arms and compound eyes. He looked confused. Ambassador Yoon, we received your message. We do not understand your aggressive tone. The human juveniles at Station Omega-7 are part of a scientific study. They are being well cared for. We have committed no crime. The room went silent. Yoon's face didn't change, but her voice dropped to a whisper. That was more frightening than shouting. You kidnapped our children. You caged them. You are studying them like laboratory specimens. And you say you committed no crime? The juveniles were collected from remote areas. Their absence has minimal impact on your colonial populations. We are simply observing specimens from your death world. Surely you understand the scientific value. Colonel Nam stood up. Did he just call our children specimens? Choi raised a hand for silence. He leaned toward the screen. High Scholar Veth, let me be very clear. We are not discussing scientific protocols. We are discussing an act of war. Veth's antennae twitched. War over a few juveniles? No species would commit to military action over such a small number. You are posturing. We do not posture, Choi said. His voice was quiet, calm, absolutely certain. We are currently mobilizing 47 warships. They will arrive at your station in 14 hours. If our children are not released unharmed, we will take them back. And your station will be destroyed. This is not a negotiation. Veth made a clicking sound. You would risk interstellar conflict over 23 individuals? That is not logical. Logic has nothing to do with it, Yoon said. Those are our children. Every single one of them is precious beyond measure. Every human who ever lived was once a child. Every scientist, every leader, every parent, we protect them because they are our future. We can negotiate a release protocol, Veth offered. Perhaps in 6 months after our research is complete. The silence in the room was absolute. Colonel Nam spoke, his voice like steel. Did he just say 6 months? Yoon closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were hard. High Scholar, I am going to explain something to you, something you clearly do not understand. Humans are Deathworlders, yes. We are strong and fast and difficult to kill. But that is not what makes us dangerous. Then what does? Veth asked. Our children make us dangerous. Every human has a child they love. A son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a student, a neighbor's kid. We are biologically programmed to protect the young. All of them. Not just our own. That is inefficient, Veth said. Resources should be allocated to the strongest individuals. You don't understand, Yoon continued. On Earth, an adult human can lift a car if their child is trapped underneath. Mothers have fought off predators 5 times their size. Fathers have walked through fire. We become stronger, faster, and more dangerous when our children are threatened. It's not logic. It's instinct. And you have triggered that instinct in 8 billion humans. Veth was quiet for a moment. You are serious. Completely serious. Return our children in the next 24 hours, or see what humanity becomes when someone hurts our young. We will need to discuss this with our council, Veth said. You have 24 hours, Troy repeated. Not 1 minute more. The transmission ended. In the command center, nobody spoke. They watched the fleet positions on the screens. The ships were moving fast. Too fast for safety. But nobody cared about safety right now. Do you think they'll comply? Asked the Russian admiral. No, Colonel Nam said. They don't understand us yet. They think we're bluffing. Then they'll learn, Troy said. Across space, the human fleet pushed forward. On every ship, the crews knew what they were doing. This wasn't about territory or resources or politics. This was personal. In the engine rooms, engineers pushed the reactors beyond red lines. In the weapons bays, gunners armed every system they had. In the medical sections, doctors prepared trauma equipment for children. In the marine decks, 200 soldiers checked their gear. Lieutenant Lee Junho was among them. He was 28, veteran of colonial defense. He had a younger sister back on Earth. She was 12. Same age as some of the kids in those cages. We're getting them out, he told his squad. All of them, alive, whatever it takes. His soldiers nodded. They had children too, brothers, sisters, cousins, kids they coached in sports or taught in schools. Every single Marine on that ship was thinking of a child they knew. The Velcrin had made a terrible mistake. They had studied human strength, human speed, human durability. But they hadn't studied the one thing that made humans truly unstoppable. Love. Back in Geneva, Ambassador Yoon watched the clock. 21 hours remaining. She had sent follow-up messages to the Galactic Council, informing them of the situation. The responses were not helpful. You're overreacting, said the Centauri representative. Scientific research is protected under galactic law. They're children, Yoon replied. But they're being kept alive, fed, housed. What is the problem? Yoon turned off the communication. She was done explaining. Some species would never understand. They didn't have the same protective instincts. Their young were born independent. They didn't need years of care and teaching and love. Humans were different. Human babies couldn't walk for a year, couldn't talk for 2 years, couldn't survive alone for 15 years or more. That long childhood created powerful bonds. It made humans invest everything in their young, and now someone had stolen that investment. Colonel Nam walked over to her. The fleet will arrive in 12 hours. Veth hasn't responded to the ultimatum. He won't, Yoon said. He still thinks this is about negotiation. What do? We show him what happens when you take our children. The hours passed. The fleet moved closer. On the Iron Phoenix, Captain Han Minho continued monitoring the children's vital signs. Some showed elevated heart rates. Stress, one reading showed signs of illness. He reported it immediately. One of the children is sick, fever, possibly infection. Admiral Troy's voice came back instantly. Confirmed. Medical teams are ready. We're moving even faster. Admiral, the engines can't take much more. They'll hold. They have to hold. 8 hours remaining. The fleet was close now. Close enough that the Velkrin had to know they were coming. Close enough that retreat was impossible. High Scholar Veth sent another message. Ambassador Yoon, we are willing to discuss a timeline for release. Perhaps 3 months would be acceptable? Yoon didn't bother responding. Neither did Admiral Choi. The time for talk was over. 6 hours remaining. 4 hours. 2 hours. The fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. 47 warships. Every weapon armed. Every crew member ready. Admiral Choi stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Indomitable. He looked at the Velkrin station on his screen. It was large, scientific, peaceful-looking. Somewhere inside were 23 terrified children. Open all channels, Choi commanded. Channels open. Sir, this is Admiral Choi Deho of the United Earth Fleet, to the Velkrin at Research Station Omega-7. You are holding 23 human children. You have 5 minutes to release them unharmed. After that, we are coming in. You will not stop us. You will not slow us. You will return our children, or we will take them. Choose now. The response came in 3 minutes. Commander Bae Haijin watched the clock on her bridge. The assault frigate Wrath of Sol was positioned closest to the Velkrin station. Her ship carried 100 Marines, all ready to deploy. She was 36, had 2 daughters back on Earth. Ages 8 and 11. She understood this mission personally. 4 minutes, her tactical officer reported on the station. The Velkrin were moving, slowly, too slowly. They're stalling, said Lieutenant Lee Junho. He stood in the Marine deployment bay with his squad. All of them wore combat armor. All of them carried non-lethal weapons. The orders were clear. Get the children out. Harm no one unless necessary. But let nothing stop you. 3 minutes, came the announcement. Through the station windows, Velkrin scientists rushed around. Some were trying to move the children. Others were hiding equipment. Others were sending messages, probably calling for help. Help would not arrive in time. 2 minutes. Commander Bae opened a channel to Admiral Choi. Sir, they're moving but not releasing. I think they're trying to hide evidence. Noted, Choi replied. At 0, you have authorization to breach. Get our kids out? Understood, Admiral. Bae turned to her crew. Ready all systems. Marines prepare for deployment. Medical teams, stand by. This is happening 1 minute. On the station, a Velkrin appeared on screen. It was not High Scholar Veth. This one looked younger, more panicked. Please, we need more time. The juveniles are in containment. We must follow proper release protocols. You have 30 seconds, Bae said, but the safety procedures, 20 seconds. The Velkrin made clicking sounds of distress. You cannot just storm in here. This is a scientific facility. There are regulations. 10 seconds. Wait, please. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Commander Bae's voice cut through every channel. All teams, go. Breach and extract. I want those children on medical ships in 20 minutes. The human ships moved like hunting predators. Fast, coordinated, perfect. The Wrath of Sol fired magnetic grapples at the station. 6 lines attached. Marines loaded into breach pods. Small, armored cylinders that could cut through station walls. Launch, Bae ordered. 20 breach pods shot from the ship. They crossed the space between ship and station in seconds. Each one carried 5 Marines. They hit the station hull with precise impacts, cutting lasers activated. Circular cuts appeared in the station walls. Atmosphere vented briefly before emergency seals activated. The Marines were already through. Lieutenant Jinho was in the first pod. The moment the cut completed, he and his team moved through. They entered a corridor. It was clean, white, clinical, like a hospital, but this was no hospital. Movement ahead, said one of his Marines. 3 Velkrin, unarmed. The aliens saw the humans and froze. Velkrin were tall, but humans in combat armor were terrifying. Junho moved forward quickly. Where are the children? He demanded. One Velkrin pointed with a trembling limb. Containment wing. Section C, but you cannot just... Watch me, Jinho said. His team moved past the aliens. Throughout the station, 19 other breach teams were doing the same thing. Moving fast. Finding scientists. Demanding directions. The Velcrin were not fighters. They didn't resist. They pointed and stammered and got out of the way. Team 7 found the first containment wing. The doors were locked. Electronic security. Breach it, said the team leader. A Marine placed a charge on the door. Clear. The explosion was small but effective. The door blew inward. Inside was a long corridor. On both sides were cells. Not rooms, cells, with transparent walls, and inside the cells were children. The team leader stopped. She was a veteran. Had seen combat. Had faced enemies. But this made her want to cry. Oh God, she whispered. Each cell was small. 3 meters by 3 meters. A bed, a toilet. Nothing else. No toys, no books. No color, just white walls and observation equipment. In the first cell, a boy sat on the bed. He looked about 10. He stared at the Marines with hollow eyes. We're here to take you home, the team leader said. You're safe now. The boy didn't respond. Just stared. Get these doors open, she ordered. Now, her tech specialist worked on the control panel. Security lockout. Give me 2 minutes. You have one. Jinho's team found Section C. This was the main containment area. More cells. More children. His squad moved quickly, checking each one. 12 children here, reported one Marine. Ages look between 6 and 14. Some are responsive. Some are not. Jinho looked into one cell. A little girl sat in the corner. She had her knees pulled up to her chest. She was rocking back and forth. She couldn't be more than 6 years old. Something in Jinho's chest broke. He went to the control panel. The doors wouldn't open. He didn't have time for this. He raised his rifle and shot the lock. Once, twice, the door sparked and slid open. He walked in slowly. Took off his helmet so the girl could see his face. Hey, he said softly. My name is Jinho. I'm from Earth. I'm here to take you home. The girl looked at him. Her eyes were empty. Home? She whispered. Yes, home to your family. To your mom and dad. We're here to get you out. They said I would never go home, the girl said. Her voice was tiny. They said I was a specimen now. Jinho felt rage like he had never known. But he kept his voice gentle. They lied. You're going home, today, right now. I promise. He held out his hand. The girl looked at it for a long moment. Then slowly she reached out and took it. Junho picked her up. She weighed almost nothing. What's your name? Yuna, Kim Yuna. Hi, Yuna, I've got you. You're safe. Throughout the station, the same scene repeated. Marines opening cells, finding traumatized children, carrying them out. 19 more teams. 11 more children found. Team 11 found a cell that made them stop cold. Inside, a boy about 12 years old had marks on his arms. Injection sites? They had been taking samples. Medical emergency? The team leader called. This one needs immediate attention. Team 15 found twins. A boy and girl, maybe 8. They were holding hands through the transparent wall between their cells. They had been separated but kept close enough to see each other. The Marine who opened the cells watched them run to each other and hug. She turned away so they wouldn't see her cry. Commander Bay monitored every team's progress. Status report. Team 1, 4 children secured. Moving to extraction. Team 7, 5 children secured. 2 need medical attention. Team 11, 3 children secured. 1 critical possible infection. The reports came in. Every team was moving. Every child was being carried to safety. Observer Krell, a Velcrin researcher, stood in the corridor as Marines rushed past. He tried to stop one. You don't understand? We were studying their resilience, their adaptation to isolation. This is valuable scientific data. Lieutenant Jinho heard him. He stopped, turned, walked up to the Velcrin scientist. You hurt children, Junho said. His voice was quiet, absolutely calm. You took them from their families. You caged them like animals. You subjected them to isolation and fear. And you call it science. We didn't harm them, Krell protested. We fed them, kept them clean, monitored their health. You took a 6-year-old girl and put her in a cage, Junho said. Alone, for months. Do you know what isolation does to a human child? They need touch. They need love. They need family. You tortured them. You just didn't understand you were doing it. But the research, there is no excuse, Junho said. There is no explanation. You hurt children. That's all that matters. He walked away. Krell stood there, finally beginning to understand what he had done. 8 minutes after the breach began, all 23 children were found. All were being carried to the extraction points. Marines moved through the station with kids in their arms. Some children were crying. Some were silent. Some held on to their rescuers like they would never let go. Commander Bay watched them come aboard. Her medical teams were ready. Dr. Song Mina led the trauma unit. She was 42, pediatric specialist, had volunteered for this mission the moment she heard the first child came through. A boy, about 9. He was shaking. Mina knelt down to his level. Hi, sweetheart. I'm Dr. Song. I'm going to check you over, make sure you're healthy. Is that okay? The boy nodded. Didn't speak. Can you tell me your name? Taiho Park Taiho. That's a good name. I have a nephew named Taiho. You're going to be just fine. We're going home. One by one, the children arrived. Medical teams checked them. Most were physically healthy, but the emotional damage was obvious. Some wouldn't make eye contact. Some flinched at loud noises. Some asked questions. Are you real? Is this a test? Will they come back for me? The medical staff answered every question with patience and love. Kim Yuna, the 6-year-old, wouldn't let go of Lieutenant Junho. He carried her to the medical bay himself. Dr. Song examined her gently. She's in shock, Mina said quietly. Severe isolation trauma. She needs extensive therapy. Will she be okay? Junho asked. Eventually, but it will take time. They took months from her childhood. That doesn't heal quickly. Junho looked at the little girl. She was staring at nothing, still rocking slightly. He wanted to find every Velcrin who had worked here and make them pay. But his job was done. The children were safe. All teams, extraction complete, Commander Bay announced. 23 children recovered. All alive. Medical status ranging from stable to serious. No fatalities. Across the fleet, a collective breath was released. They had done it. The children were safe. Admiral Troy's voice came through. The Galactic Council station orbited a neutral star. It was a massive structure, home to representatives from 47 different species. Today the council chamber was full. Everyone had come to see what would happen. The humans had just stormed a Velcrin research station. They had taken back their children by force. Now, the galaxy wanted answers. Ambassador Yun Sora stood in the center of the chamber. Around her, in a circle, sat representatives from every major species. Above, viewing galleries were packed with observers. This was being broadcast across the galaxy. Counselor Tresh, a being made of crystalline structures, spoke first. Ambassador Yun, the council demands an explanation. Your forces attacked a civilian research facility. You violated Velcrin sovereignty. You acted without council approval. Yun stood quietly. She wore her formal diplomatic robes. Her face was calm. Her voice was steady. We rescued our children. The Velcrin claimed they were conducting legitimate scientific research, said the Centauri representative. Research is protected under galactic law. They kidnapped children, Yun replied. The juveniles were collected from unpopulated areas, the Velcrin delegate argued. It was High Scholar Veth, who looked nervous. No force was used. No laws were broken according to our understanding. Your understanding was wrong, Yun said. Captain Han Minho entered the chamber. He carried a data pad. Dr. Kang Mai walked beside him. They had been summoned to provide evidence. The council will hear testimony, Counselor Tresh announced. Captain Han Min-ho, you discovered the children. Please present your findings. Min-ho stepped forward. He activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the council floor. These are the cells where the children were kept, he said. His voice was rough. 3 meters by 3 meters. No windows. No stimulation. No contact with others. The images showed the stark white rooms, empty, cold, clinical. They're just rooms, said the Andorian observer. They appear clean and safe. For an adult, maybe, Dr. Kang Mai said. She stood beside Min-ho. But not for a human child. Human children need constant interaction. They need touch. They need play. They need family. Isolation is a form of torture for them. That seems like an exaggeration, Counselor Tresh said. It's not, Mai replied. She brought up more data. Human brain development requires social interaction. Children raised in isolation develop severe psychological problems, depression, anxiety, attachment disorders. Some never fully recover. We were studying their adaptation capabilities, Veth protested. How they respond to stress. How they cope with separation. Yoon turned to face him. You were torturing them to see what would happen. That is not, you took children as young as 6 years old. You locked them in cages, alone, for months. You ran tests on them. You took samples. You watched them cry for their parents and did nothing. The chamber went silent. Park Ji-woo entered next. She was crying, but her voice was clear. I have recordings, she said. From the station's observation logs. The Velkrin kept audio records of everything. The council will hear them, Tresh said. Ji-woo played the first file. A child's voice came through the speakers. A boy, maybe 8 years old. Mom? Are you there? Please come get me. I want to go home? I'll be good. I promise I'll be good, please. The recording went on for 3 minutes. The child's voice got weaker. More desperate. Then stopped. This went on for 4 days, Ji-woo said. The researchers noted his emotional decline. They called it interesting data. She played another recording. A girl this time, older, maybe 12. I know you can hear me. I know you're watching. Please just tell me why. What did I do wrong? Why won't you talk to me? Then another. The 6-year-old Kim Yuna, I want my mommy. The little voice was so small, so broken. I want my mommy. Mommy, where are you? Please, please. Ji-woo stopped the playback. She couldn't continue. Around the council chamber, some representatives looked uncomfortable. Others looked confused. But all of them were finally listening. These recordings go on for hours, Ji-woo said. Days, weeks, children begging to go home, asking what they did wrong, crying until they had no tears left. And the Velkrin just watched, took notes, called it research. We didn't harm them physically, Veth said. His voice was weaker now. You harm them in ways that won't heal for years, Yoon said. She walked to the center of the chamber. You ask why we responded with force. You ask why we sent a fleet. You think we overreacted. So let me explain something to every species in this chamber. She turned slowly, looking at each representative. You call us Deathworlders. You fear our strength. You study our combat capabilities. You warn your people about human aggression, but you don't understand what makes us truly dangerous. Then tell us, Counselor Tresh said. Our children make us dangerous, Yoon said. Not because they're weak, not because they need protection, but because they're everything. Every human who ever lived started as a helpless infant. We survive through cooperation and teaching. We pass knowledge from generation to generation. Our children are not just the future. They're the reason we have a future. She brought up another image. This one showed Earth, continents, oceans, clouds. Earth nearly killed us. Ice ages, predators, diseases, volcanoes, floods. We survived because we protected our young. A human adult can go days without food, but they will give that food to a child first. We will walk through fire, fight impossible odds, face certain death, all to save a child. Any child. Not just our own. That is inefficient, the Centauri said. Resources should go to the strongest individuals. That's why you'll never understand us, Yoon replied. We don't calculate the value of a child's life. A 6-year-old girl isn't less important than an admiral or a scientist or a leader. She's more important, because she has her whole life ahead of her. All that potential. All those possibilities. She walked closer to the Velcrin delegate. You studied our physical resilience, our strength, our adaptability, but you missed the most important thing. The thing that makes us apex predators? What is that? Veth asked quietly. We protect our pack. All of it, especially the young. Touch our children, and you don't face soldiers. You face parents. And parents fighting for their children don't follow rules. They don't negotiate. They don't stop until their children are safe. Yoon turned back to the council. You want to know why we sent 47 warships for 23 children? Because that's the minimum we would send. If they had taken 1 child, we would have sent the same fleet. If they had taken 100, we would have sent more. The number doesn't matter. They're all precious. They're all irreplaceable. You would truly go to war over children? Counselor Tresh asked. Without hesitation, Yoon said. Every time. Every single time. That's not a threat. It's a promise. It's who we are. Captain Minho spoke again. The Velcrin asked why we didn't negotiate, why we didn't follow diplomatic protocols. Here's why. Every hour those children spent in cages was an hour of trauma. Every day was a day stolen from their childhood. We couldn't waste time on procedures while they suffered. We moved fast because we had to, added Commander Bae Haijin. She had joined the testimony via video link. Those children needed us. They needed to be saved right then. Not in a week. Not after committee meetings and policy reviews immediately. Dr. Song Mina appeared on another screen. I've examined all 23 children. All show signs of psychological trauma. 3 have physical injuries from stress responses. 1 developed an infection from a compromised immune system due to isolation. These are damages that will take years to heal. Some may never fully recover. She paused. The youngest, Kim Yuna, hasn't spoken in 3 days except to cry for her mother. She's 6 years old. She should be playing with friends, learning to read, laughing. Instead, she rocks in corners and flinches when people approach her. That's what your research did. The council chamber was completely silent now. Yoon spoke again. Her voice was softer but somehow more powerful. We're not asking for your approval. We're telling you how it's going to be. From this day forward, human children are untouchable. Any species that harms them, studies them, or takes them will face the full force of Earth's military. No warnings. No negotiations. Immediate response. You cannot dictate terms to the Galactic Council, the Andorian representative said. We're not dictating to you, Yoon replied. We're informing you. This isn't about politics or territory or resources. This is about survival. Any species that threatens our children becomes our enemy. We will destroy you to protect them. That's not aggression. That's biology. Barbaric, someone muttered. Maybe, Yoon admitted. But it's why we survived Earth. It's why we're here. It's why we will continue to exist. We don't abandon our young. We don't sacrifice them for science or efficiency or logical resource allocation. We fight for them, always. She looked at each representative again. So here's the message we're sending to the galaxy. Stay away from our children. All of them. The ones on Earth, the ones in colonies, the ones on ships, the ones anywhere humans live. You can trade with us, ally with us, even fight us over territory or politics. But the moment you touch a human child, you become prey. And humans are very good at hunting. Is that a threat? Counselor Tresh asked. It's an education, Yoon said. You wanted to understand Deathworlders. Now you do. We're not dangerous because of our strength or our weapons. 6 months had passed since the rescue. Earth's medical facilities worked around the clock to help the children recover. Dr. Song Mina had personally overseen the treatment of all 23. Today, she sat in her office reviewing progress reports. Most of the children were healing. Slowly, some had returned to their families. Others were still in treatment. But all of them were alive, safe. Home. Kim Yuna was one of the difficult cases. The 6-year-old girl still had nightmares. She didn't like being alone. She needed constant reassurance. But there were improvements. Small ones. Important ones. She smiled yesterday, her mother told Mina during a check-in call. For the first time in months, we were having breakfast and her brother told a joke. And she smiled. Mina felt tears in her eyes. That's wonderful. That's real progress. When will she be normal again? The mother asked. There's no timeline, Mina said gently. Trauma doesn't heal on a schedule. But children are resilient. More than we realize. She get there. Just keep doing what you're doing. Love her. Be patient. Be there. We will. We almost lost her. We won't take a single day for granted. Mina ended the call and looked at her other reports. Park Tae-ho, the 9-year-old boy, was back in school. He struggled with anxiety but was making friends. The 12-year-old twins had returned to their colony. They were inseparable now, even more than before. Every child had a story. Everyone was healing in their own way. The Galactic Council Station. Ambassador Yoon Sora was working on something new. Something unprecedented. The Seoul Accord, named after the city where the final draft was written. It was simple. 1-page clear language. No complicated legal terms. All sentient young of any species are to be protected under galactic law. Any harm to children, whether physical, psychological, or emotional, is a crime against all species. Violators will face immediate sanctions and possible military action. 40 species had signed it so far. More were considering it. The galaxy was learning, but not everyone understood yet. A trade delegation from the Zorath Empire arrived at the council. They wanted to discuss the accord. This is too broad, their representative said. Our species has different development rates. Our young reach maturity quickly. This law doesn't account for biological differences. Yoon listened patiently. Then we'll adjust it. Species by species. The goal isn't to impose human biology on everyone. The goal is to protect the vulnerable, whatever that means for each species. And if we refuse to sign, then you refuse, Yoon said. But understand this. If any member of your species harms a human child, even if you haven't signed, we will respond. The accord is for everyone else's protection, not ours. We already know what we'll do. The Zorath representative was quiet, then nodded. We'll sign. Across the galaxy, the message was spreading. Humans were serious about children. All children. Not just their own. When a Centauri colony ship reported missing young from their hatching chambers, it was a human patrol that found them first. Traffickers had taken them. The humans freed them and returned them within 6 hours. The Centauri ambassador was shocked. Why did you help? They're not. You're young. They're children, the human commander replied. That's enough. When an Andorian settlement reported a predator attacking their nursery, human marines arrived to help. They set up defenses, hunted the predator, protected the young until the danger passed. We can handle our own problems, the Andorian elder said. We know, said Commander Bei Haijin. But you don't have to. Not alone. Children matter. All of them. Slowly, the galaxy began to understand. Humans weren't expanding their territory. They weren't seeking power. They were establishing themselves as protectors. Especially of the young. It was unprecedented. Most species barely cared about other species' children. Humans treated them like their own, Back on Earth, Admiral Troy Deho had retired from active duty, but he hadn't stopped working. He now led the Guardian Initiative, a new program to protect colony worlds. "We're establishing rapid response stations," he explained at a press conference. "Small fleets positioned throughout human space and beyond. If any colony reports a threat to children, we can respond within hours. Even non-human colonies?" A reporter asked. "Especially non-human colonies," Troy replied. "The galaxy needs to know we meant what we said. Children are protected. All of them." Lieutenant Lee Jun-ho had left active service too. He now worked with traumatized children, teaching them, helping them feel safe again. Kim Yuna was one of his students. She came to the community center 3 times a week. At first, she wouldn't participate, just sat in the corner and watched. But gradually she started joining in. Today she was painting. Her picture showed a spaceship and stars. In the ship's window, stick figures held hands. "That's beautiful, Yuna," Jun-ho said. "What is it?" "It's when you found me," she said quietly, "and took me home. Do you think about that day a lot?" "Every day. But it's not scary anymore. Because I know you came. You all came." "We'll always come," Jun-ho promised. "That's what we do." Yuna looked at him with those big eyes. They weren't empty anymore. There was light in them again. "Will you teach me to be brave like you?" "You're already brave," Jun-ho said. "You survived something terrible. You're healing. That takes more courage than anything I've ever done." At the Velcrin homeworld, a revolution was happening. Not violent, but profound. The younger generation had learned what their scientists did. They were horrified. A group of young Velcrins sent a formal apology to Earth. "We did not know what our elders did. We don't understand emotions the way you do. But we are learning. We want to learn. Please teach us why children matter so much." Earth sent teachers, psychologists, educators. They explained human development, bonding, love, family structures. The Velcrin listened carefully. "Your young are helpless for so long," one Velcrin student observed. "This must be difficult." "It is," the human teacher agreed. "But it's also the most important thing we do. Raising children, teaching them, protecting them. It's what makes us human, and you would truly die for them?" "Without question." The Velcrin was quiet. "We have much to learn." The scientists who had run the research station faced trial. Not on Earth. That would have been too dangerous. Human justice for crimes against children was harsh. Instead, they were tried by the Galactic Council. High Scholar Veth stood before the judges. "I did not understand," he said. "I thought I was conducting valuable research. I did not know I was causing harm." "Ignorance is not an excuse," the judge said. "You took children from their families. You caged them. You watched them suffer and did nothing. I am Velcrin. We do not have the same emotional responses. Our young are independent immediately after hatching. Then you should have asked humans before studying their young. You should have learned their needs. You chose not to. That is your crime." Veth was sentenced to permanent exile from his homeworld, as were all the other researchers. They would live on a remote station, far from any colony. They could continue their studies, but never again could they interact with living subjects. It was mercy, barely, but it was more than many humans wanted to give them. Park. Giwu visited several of the recovered children. She brought care packages, books, games, little reminders that they were safe. That they were home. One teenager, a 13-year-old girl named Hannah, asked her a hard question. "Why didn't anyone come sooner?" Giwu felt her heart break. "Because we didn't know. The colonies are so far apart. Nobody connected the disappearances. We should have. We failed you, but you came when you found out. The moment we knew. Every ship. Every soldier, everyone. Why? You didn't know us. You're one of us," Giwu said simply. "You're human. You're a child. That's all we needed to know." Hannah was quiet for a moment. "I was starting to think nobody cared, that I would be there forever. Never. We would have searched forever if we had to. Until we found every single one of you. What happens now? Now you heal. You go back to being a kid. You play, you learn, you grow up. You live the life they tried to take from you. What about them? The aliens? They'll never forget what happens when someone touches our children. And neither will the rest of the galaxy. At the colony where Yuna lived, a memorial was built. Not for anyone who died, but for everyone who was saved. 23 names carved in stone. A simple message underneath. We came for them. We will always come. Families visited the memorial, left flowers, stood quietly and remembered. Not the trauma, but the rescue. The moment when humanity showed what it truly was, protectors, parents, people, who would cross the galaxy for a single child. 1 year after the rescue, Earth held a ceremony. All 23 children were invited. Not all could attend. Some were still healing. Some lived too far away. But 12 made the trip. Admiral Troy gave a speech. You are the reason we exist. Not as soldiers or explorers or scientists, but as humans. Everything we build, everything we achieve, everything we become is for you. For all the children who come after us. You were taken from us? That should never have happened. We failed to protect you, but we did not fail to save you. And we will never fail you again. The children stood together on stage. Some held hands. Some cried. Kim Yuna held tightly to Lieutenant Junho's hand. She was 7 now, growing, healing, learning to be a kid again. When the ceremony ended, the children were asked if they wanted to say anything.